So now what we need to do is that we need to activate this button or these buttons so that the user will be able to go to a new page and read more about any of these stories. So how can we do that? To do that, we need to create a new URL and a new page. So I'm going to open up the URLs first in the URLs, and then in the URLs I'm going to here say comma, and then I'm going to create a new path. I need to create a new path that's going to be used to go to a new page. So I'm going to say path, and then I'm going to say single. I'm going to name it single article because this is going to be used for any single article that the user wants to read more about. And then I'm going to say views dot single article. And this single article obviously is the function that I'm going to create shortly. Finally, I'm going to say name. The name is going to be single article. Single article. And the name is very, very, very important. Why? Because this name is going to be used in the index here in this form in order for this form to handle, or in order for this form to send the data, in order for this form to send the title and the content. So here in this form, what we need to do is that we need to tell this form which URL should be used to submit the data. So that can be done using the action and the method. So I'm going to say here action. The action is going to be the URL. So here the action is going to be the URL that I just created. So what is the URL that I just created? The URL that I just created was the single article. So I'm going to say here action, and then I'm going to say curly brackets and then percentages, and then in between I'm going to use a function called URL. And then this URL is a function that's going to go to the URLs, of course, behind the scenes, and it's going to select the URL that you want. So I'm going to be using the single article name. So I'm going to say here single article, and make sure that the spelling is correct. The second thing that we need to add to this form is the method. So the method can be post or get, and since we are submitting a big paragraph, so we need to use post. I'm going to say here post. So I'm going to say here post. It's going to be a post request. And finally here to this form, I'm going to add the CSRF token. I'm going to say here curly brackets and then percentages and then CSRF underscore token, which is a token that should be used, that CSRF underscore token, which is a token that's going to be displayed behind the scenes and should be used in case you are using a post request, because otherwise if you don't use this, it's not going to work. This, by the way, this CSRF token is a way of protecting your data, so it's a good practice to add this. And in Django you need to add this. If you don't add this, it's not going to work in case you are using a post request. Now what we need to do is that we need to create this function. We need to create the single article function in the views. So in the views, I'm going to come over here. In the views here, I'm going to say def, and then I'm going to say single article. And obviously it's going to take the request, and here we need to work on this function. For now, I'm just going to say return. I'm going to say return for now, just for now, return, and then I'm going to say HTTP response, and then I'm going to say this is the single article page. Let me save and let me save all. I'm going to click on save all, and then let me head on over to the browser to test. So now in the browser, let me refresh. And let me click, for example, on this news story. If I click on it, it's going to take me to a new page, and here it says this is the single article. This is the single article page. And if you go back, and if you check another story, for example, this story, let's check this story. For example, this one, as you can see, it's going to say here, it is going to say here, this is single article page. So it works successfully. And now we will be able to go to the single article page.